Fortunately, we couldn't see the faces. But yeah, I'm happy to see some of the names appearing which were there yesterday as well. So yeah, I think um, you will have to bear with us. Those who were there yesterday, we'll go through the similar introductions about ourselves as well as Bhumi. So because there are some new people joining in, so for their benefit, we'll have to go through this process. So I'm Farah. Like Adil said, I have been part of Bhumi team for almost a decade now, and I've been part of the trust that runs Bhumi College and Bhumi Network and other things as well for 23 years. Been in the field of education for the last 23 years. And I think, yeah, this journey has been very, very, very meaningful and quite a wonderful journey. And it has changed my perception about many, many things about education, about sustainability, environment, how I look at myself, how I look at others. So it has been a wonderful journey. So yeah, I will ask Teshu to introduce herself.
Namaskara, I'm Teshwini. So I am a Bhumi alumni. I've done my fellowship in 2019 and I've been working with Bhumi now for quite some time. So I facilitate programs for children at our Gumlapuram campus as well as some facilitation at the Bhumi campus. I mainly work with children and I'm also actively taking part in organizing different events at the Sante, and I'm very, very excited to share about all the things about the Sante. And I think the thing that really draws me into Bhumi is the community that we have here, and Sante is an extension of that community. So I'm very, very excited to see you all this Sunday morning and to share larger community looks like for you all.
Okay. So yeah, a bit about Bhumi College, Bhumi Network, what we are, what we do. This is for the people who are joining us for the first time, who may not be familiar with uh, what Bhumi does. So I'll give a very brief introduction. So Bhumi College and Bhumi Network, these are like two entities. They are established under the trust called KNA Foundation for Education, which was established in 1995 as a public charitable trust. So the first institution that the trust started was Prakriya Green Wisdom School that started in 1999. And then in 2008, Bhumi Network and Bhumi College was established under the same trust. So the main objective with which Bhumi College and Bhumi Network was started was to create spaces where people can engage, where people can hold discussions, which can be like a hub where people can look at how we can live a more ecologically wise living. So that was the main purpose of Bhumi College and Bhumi Network. Another objective was that the school that we run, Prakriya School, is an alternative learning space where we look at learning from nature's principles as well as learning by observing nature, by being in nature. So there are a lot of alternative methods of teaching learning processes that are part of the school. So for adults, we felt that there was a need for a similar space where people can move away from the mainstream learning methodologies and do things that are not being offered in the mainstream colleges. So with that intent, Bhumi College and Bhumi Network was started. And the main focus of all the activities in both the places is holistic education and sustainable living. How we can build awareness, build more sensitivity towards the issues related to environment, ecology, nature, our Mother Earth. So that's the main focus. So under Bhumi Network, currently we are running 3 projects. One is Bhumi Farmers Center that is in Tiruvannamalai. If those who were there yesterday, you heard the presentation by Parthasarathy, who is anchoring that project. So that we started in 2018 when we bought about 80 acres of dry land, and in 5 years of time, we have done a lot of greening of that space. It looks very green, and a lot of water conservation devices have been placed, and a lot of different processes were taken on that land. Along with that, we are also looking at creating some livelihood options for the local community, also influencing and trying to convert local farmers to natural farming, moving from chemical farming to or natural farming, organic farming, as well as creating women self-help group who are getting into farming, and with the produce, they are creating value-added products which are being sold at our Sante and other places. So that's what is happening at Tiruvannamalai farm. Then we have another project in Gumlapuram that Teshu briefly mentioned. So we have about 20 acre of land there. There as well, we have done a lot of processes, and we have started organic farming there. Along with organic farming, we are taking school students, college students, as well as families to be in nature, to learn about nature again, and to learn about natural farming, chemical-free farming, and also uh, to kind of become more sensitive towards these issues. And Teshwini has been conducting these programs there, retreats and other programs. Another project that we have is in Sharavati Valley near Shimoga, which is in the midst of rainforest. We have a beautiful place there. So there we are running projects around afforestation and conserving indigenous species. So we have been working on that, but that project is still kind of in the project phase. It needs more time and attention from our team, and we are working on that. So all these three projects come under Bhumi Network, and Bhumi College is basically is an educational space where we build awareness and educate people about, again, the focus is sustainability and education. So we do weekend programs, short programs on various topics, be it food and farming, be it consumerism, be it health, all those things we offer. And our flagship programs are 8-month fellowship program that will start in July. So the topics will be sustainable living and holistic education. So these are the fellowship program that we offer. So yeah, this is in brief. If anyone who is interested in knowing more about, we would be very happy to engage with you. You can write to us or call us. So yeah, I'll now start with the next part of it. So like we say, like anything that we do, it has to begin with the self, how we are, how we connect with things. So today's topic is let's localize. So let's reflect a bit. Let's go back in time, go back to our childhood times when we were younger. Let's say below the age of 10 when we were children. Just think, go back to those times. Where did we live? What was our neighborhood like? What were some of the things that we did? What were some of the things that were around us? What games we played, how we connected with each other, how we connected with the things around us. Just take a few minutes and go back to those times and reflect how things were. Okay. Um, Now let's come back to the here and now, to the present. Again, reflect on where we are today, how we are, where do we live, what are the things around us, how we connect with them, how we connect with people, how we connect with place, how we connect with myself. Just reflect on that. How are things in the present? Okay, so probably we can mm, get a few responses from, if you could, in your reflection of both the context, could you see any difference? What is the difference that you could get in touch with? Mm, If you can just share a few very briefly, uh, what kind of thoughts and feelings does it evoke in you? And this is just a request. It's choice is yours. If when you're talking, at least if you can switch on the video, that it would be nice to create that personal connect. As it is, we are just looking at blank screens. So it would be really uh, great if you can switch on the video for a brief while. Yeah, you can either respond in the chat or unmute yourself and share it. That would be nice.
Yeah. So I'm Divya. Hi. Thank you for this nice presentation. My experience has been that I lived in a place which was in the middle of nowhere as a kid, and I remember now that I had gone through all the seasons. When it was spring, all the plants were full of flowers, and how everything was changing over time, and that is the most important part that I really miss right now. I feel wherever I see the rain, or I see the heavy or differences in the weather, but the green part of it is so missing in my life, at least, that I really want to find that connection back to Bhumi, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Divya. Anyone else?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Sundra, I think you wanted to share.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Sundar, you can
Vadivelu.
go.
All right, maybe the connection is not good at his
Hmm.
end. We can.
Maybe somebody else can
yeah.
go.
Bhumi sessions are generally interactive, and if you harbor any hopes of doing any in-person modules at Bhumi, then you will have to sort of share what you're with. So just a request, invitation to share anything. I know that when I was growing up, obviously there were no apartments. People would go early in the morning and get milk from the milkman. You went there, stood in line. Everything was a task. Like you had to go and walk and get everything. Like even sometimes getting water was, go up to the water tanker, stand in line there, get water. So I think everything seemed involved walking. And also one thing that I've noticed now is that there are many people that you can look at and just look through. And I lived in an apartment for quite some time, and if 50 people are coming in front of your eyes, you just look past them. You don't really, and that could be security guards, that could be people who are just working, to make sure that the apartment is working. I think for me, modern life or apartment life was, you had to look past people as if they're invisible, and that becomes sort of the norm. And so for me, that is something that I have noticed. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Sundar Vadivelu. I was from
Vadivelu sir, I think
there.
your connection is not too good. I would request you to switch off your video. I think that would help.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think are you able to hear me, sir? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
clear.
I am Sundar Vadivelu, coming from a small village called Vadamadimangalam at the Tirunelveli district of Tamil Nadu. In my childhood, around 1965 to 62 to around 78, I was in the village, in that village. There, that community living was there. Every people is connected well. I think. Whenever somebody coming from outside to the village, just entering the village itself, people will inquire about who are you, from where you are coming. The non-people are there, how you are related, how everybody are doing it. Just coming to my house, just oddly some 10-15 houses are there to come to my house. It will take not less than half an hour to 45 minutes. Everywhere people should be sitting on that. At the time, it is called a thin line, and small. In our front of house, there is a small platform. People should be sitting there, and they will be talking. In the evening, the lot of trees are there. The not able to chit chat. All birds will be there, and we have to get water from that common pond is there. All drinking water will get some water from there only. At the time, there is no connection for tap water like that in the villages. Only small wells will be there. Individual houses, we take water from the individual well, we do for all household. now I think the villages are getting urbanized actually. All villages getting urbanized, and there is no community living. I see now actually. Individuals, there is not that much interaction. Even my sister's marriage was made in a function of 7 days, where all the relatives came and cooked the food for everybody themselves. The main thing is that again that natural living, that is farming methods has completely changed with fertilizers from around 1975 onwards in our village. A lot of pesticides. I'm not able to see many insects which I see in my field. I will see to the people while during harvesting they are able to catch crab and fishes. How we miss and that paddy will be having lot of that is what is that manpuru, that is so many things we miss the nature. We don't carry any water with us. Wherever we want water, we just drink the water by taking directly from the well or directly from the rock. Now we need to take water everywhere. Even for small tour, we have to take water. That is, I miss a lot actually. So after my retirement, I have purchased a small pocket of land near that my village, around 2.5 acres land. I am developing in a nature way with the natural species of trees and all the things. So they will grow on that naturally. So I want to create a good environment there. This is just my introduction. Thank you for giving a chance.
Yeah, thank you. We can take 2 or 3 more responses.
Hi everyone. I was not raised in a village. I was raised in a city only. So what I miss the most, that when I was a child, so people used to come without informing my house. I mean, guests have come. And today, what change I'm looking, that we have to take an appointment. We have to inform a month back or 15 days back that we are coming. I mean, in a way, it's a good or bad. I don't know. I don't comment on that. But sometimes it feels that connect is gone. There's somebody knocking on the door, especially the postman. I miss that cleaner. I miss that on Diwali days, on any celebration day, we used to give some gifts to postman. So postman is gone, and especially with the children, we used to play in a mohalla kind of place. In fact, scooter was coming, cycle used to come, but there was no worry about that someone will hit us, someone will take us. So right now, I feel very bad for the children that they are not living very carefree life what I used to live as a child. And that is the 2-3 things I miss a lot.
Yeah, I can completely relate with that.
Okay, I'll go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. So I've grown and brought up in Leh, and after that I've gone to Chandigarh to study. So in Leh, which is part of Ladakh, which is kind of a town in Ladakh, had free clean water and then free access to apricot trees, apple trees growing up as a kid. So when we'll walk to the school, we'll be plucking apricots, eating it, and then the fields were without any fencing apparently. So now what's happening is, maybe my voice is getting cut, so I'll just turn off the video. And now what's happening is we see a lot of fencing around like houses and then fields where I don't think kids nowadays walk also. They have access to cars, the parents will drop them. So this access to free land, this free will, I think this spirit and then entire atmosphere has changed. And of course, like importance of money, lot of other things. now we can see the contrast. Yeah, thank you.
All right, I think we can move ahead now. So, yeah, thank you for sharing. And I think I could relate to everything that was shared. And I think my thing, what I miss the most is the space. Alex, as somebody was saying, you really feel for like children don't have carefree space. So I had the space to just run and run without any boundaries. And now wherever you see, you just see the wall, you just hit the wall. So that's my thing that I miss the most. So I think we'll start with the next thing. And I think I would like to invite Teshwini now to share how we are trying to maintain some bit of that localization, some bit of that spirit, some bit of that connect with the person, with each other through the farmers market. So Teshu, please go ahead.
I would want to begin with sharing on what I reflected. So I think for me, growing up, home was not just my building, but the neighborhood, my city. So that is what I connected as home. So as soon as you stepped out, you had so many people to talk to, play with, you connected to so many different parts of the city. But now living in Bangalore, I don't feel that way, that, I somehow cannot call Bangalore as the entire home, because as soon as I step out, I see strangers out there, and I'm not able to make that connection. So, but I think whenever we have the farmers market happening, it's one place where end up chatting so much with so many people. So, out of the entire week that I have, I feel I speak the most on the farmers market day. So there's people coming in, they are getting to know you, you are getting to know them. We are talking about different things. So, and that's when I feel a little more connected to Bangalore on the farmers market day. And also, to begin with, I would want to share the first memory that I have of the farmers market. So, before joining the fellowship, I had visited Bhumi on a farmers market day, and I wanted to see this campus and talk to people here. And I've grown up in a village, and we have a farm where we grow mangoes. We have mango trees, and we've not had any mangoes. We do not buy mangoes from outside, from the market. So I think it was the first time when we had come to the farmers market that we bought mangoes, Banganpalli, which we don't usually get in our place. And we were very skeptical, because we are very, very skeptical about buying mangoes outside. We're scared of all the chemicals that are being used to ripen them much before and other things, but we were amazed. The taste of the mangoes was amazing. You could really feel that they were organic and there was nothing chemically used, and it was like a litmus test for me of the place and all the other things that were here. So yeah, so in that way, I think Bhumi's farmers market has a really special place in my heart, and I'm very happy to be sharing about what we do here and other things. Yeah, I would like to share my screen for a presentation. Yeah. So Bhumi Sante, which is a local market that we have here, which is formed by the community and for the community. Sante is a Kannada word which means farmers market. So that is why, since we are living in Karnataka, we are in Bangalore, we thought Sante would be an apt word for the farmers market here. So we ended up calling it Bhumi Sante. So it's as Adil had mentioned earlier, it's a bi-monthly farmers market that happens in Bhumi College, in the Bhumi campus in Bangalore, which is in Sarjapur. So you can buy fresh produces of vegetables, fruits, groceries, personal care items, clothing, and there are also a lot of different other things like we have even traditional games and which are grown in the farmland and our own farmland and also the organic farms that we know. So it happens on the first and third Saturday of every month and is around from 9 a.m. in the morning and goes on until 1:30 in the afternoon. So before getting into know what this farmers market is, I think it is very important to understand why did we start the farmers market? Why did we feel a need to start the farmers market? So as Bhumi Farandi mentioned that we have these different projects in Gumlapuram and Tiruvannamalai and we started growing our own produce at a little larger scale. We were looking for a market to sell these products and we realized that the market that exists now, the agriculture supply market, has many loopholes in it. And I would just want to show this chart to kind of think about the different loopholes that we have. What usually happens in a conventional agriculture supply chain is that small farmers or even large farmers in a village will have to go through a number of people or what we call the middlemen to reach the customer. And in the process, they end up losing on a lot of the money that they really deserve. For example, if you are a small farmer, then you will have to go to a village aggregator who would collect your supply to take it to the mandi. Or you will have to go to a village trader who would have lent you money and in turn has asked for a certain amount of your produce. And similarly goes with the village money lender who would have lent you money beforehand and in turn has a kind of a right over your land. So he would be taking some amount of produce that you've already grown. And once, even after you reach the mandi, there is an auction happening with the purchase. So the traders will auction for your produce rather than giving the fair price that needs to be given to the farmer. And then it has to go to the stocks when the APMCs or it goes to the processor where it's turned into a value added process and then goes to a wholesaler, retailer, and the consumer. So if you look at this entire process, it just feels that that it feels very unfair on the part of the small farmers because they don't really get the fair price that's needed to be given to them for growing the produce. And it feels very unfair on the part of consumers also because they have to pay a higher price because all the middlemen would want a share in it. So we thought that how can we eliminate these middlemen in the process so that the farmers who are growing it have a direct contact with the consumer and the consumer can give the fair price that the farmer deserves. So that is why I think Bhumi, after a point, decided to launch the project, which is our Bhumi Sante. So it began in 2017 at the Bhumi campus. The mission was that the Bhumi Sante will be a platform where we'll create a direct connect between the consumers and the producers of organic food. So, and today the market has various things, like I mentioned, we have vegetables and groceries, we have personal care products, we have traditional games, we have so many other little things that where the producer is in contact with the consumer. So along with this, we wanted the market to evolve, and it has evolved over a period of time where we have made it to be a zero waste space where we do not encourage anybody to bring in plastic. Instead, they are encouraged to bring in own bottles, containers, and bags to buy the products. If you come around to the Sante, you will see everybody carrying their own small bags, containers, even to carry the groceries and other things. So after this, as the Sante progressed, we felt a need that, it shouldn't just be a buying and selling space. It should not feel very consumeristic. And we began with the idea of hosting different discussions, workshop, movie screenings, book clubs, and other interesting activities around the idea of sustainability, around the idea of well-being of the planet and other things. So that is how the market began and has evolved now. Going forward, I would want to kind of brief you as to how we organize the Bhumi Sante. So what we do is, the first thing, when we decided to have the Bhumi Sante, we began looking for a lot of local organic farmers, and we reached out to them and asked them if they would want to come, and they can sell their products here. So we have a selection process that we formed at that point in time, that we will have the farmers talk to us that if they are interested in coming here and selling their products, and then we would go and visit their places to kind of build that trust as to how they are growing the vegetables, what are the different organic methods or natural farming methods that they are using to grow the products, what are the various processes if they are making the value added products, how are the processes that are they using, how much are they in tune with the health of the planet and other things. So this is the process that we adopted, and once we feel that they are in alignment with the all the policies that we have, we invite them to come and sell their products at Bhumi. So the next thing was, what are the different kind of products that we would want the Sante to have. So we decided that we would have everything ranging from the groceries, vegetables to personal care and other products. So we would want but we have certain policies in Bhumi where we do not encourage maida, sugar, or so anything made with maida or sugar. So we decided that we will restrict the products to anything that are made organically but do not have any kind of maida or sugar in them. So the products also, as we began looking at them, we thought we are not going to look at a lot of products that are processed. Even if it's a value-added product, it shouldn't be processed to a large extent. So if it is something that is not processed to a large extent, we started accepting those kind of products and inviting them. And also to look at what are the key basic ingredients used in the products. Where are they coming from? Are they coming from somewhere very far away? So what is the impact those key ingredients are making in key ingredients are making in making the product? So that was the another thing that we thought about. And one rule that we really followed while looking at the products is that if there are two farmers who are selling the same products, we decided that we would either choose only one farmer, because we do not want a certain kind of competition to happen between them. We would want them to have a fair chance in selling their products. So what we do is, if we have multiple people selling the same kind of products, we either deny one person or we choose that they come on alternative Santes. If one farmer comes on the first Sante, then we would want the other farmer to come on the second Sante, so that even the consumers have a option to buy from different farmers. And regarding the prices, we decided to have a maximum price at which these products need to be sold. So we decided that they need to be affordable. They need to be not too skyrocketed. They need to be affordable by everybody that are there in the campus. And the price ranges we decided will be fixed by the farmers, and we will have no say in them other than the maximum that we have kept, because we feel it is only the producers or the farmers who really understand the value of the product that they are bringing in, the effort and the time and the cost that goes into bringing these products to us. So that is the selection process, or how we are involved in the uh, organizing of the Sante. So the rest of the decisions happen between the consumers and the producers. So this is also a space where where we did not want to have a lot of say. So we did not want to become the middleman that we are trying to avoid. So a lot of conversations in that way happen between the consumers and the farmers who come in to sell the products here. So if you come here, you can see a lot of them, placing their demands as to what kind of products they would want to have. A lot of discussions on, the farmers talking about not being able to meet some demands, but also talking about what are their difficulties in meeting those demands, and those kind of conversations happening. And a lot of these farmers that come here to sell the products have also opened up their farms to the customers here. So I see a lot of them going and visiting these farms, volunteering there, and trying to understand what goes into, creating the products that they come here and sell, and how these products are made organically. So that's the kind of engagement that we see, and that's the kind of interaction we would want between the consumers and the uh, producers. So if you would want to be a part of this, so you can see that our Bhumi Sante, we put out the updates on our Instagram, which is Bhumi Network. And if you would want to be part of the mailer list and get updates on our Bhumi Sante, then you can write to us at Bhumi Workshops. So also, if you are a producer who would wish to be part of our Bhumi Sante, then we would request that you send us an email at bhumisante18@gmail.com regarding your products, and we shall get back to you. So here is a short video that I would like to show you regarding the Bhumi Sante, which was filmed by Deccan Herald.
I don't hear the sound.
Ishu,
I can't
yeah,
get the sound.
yeah. Well, can you close and share again? And while you're sharing again, on the
Yeah.
bottom you'll see a box called play computer sound. So when
Okay.
if you can check that, the sound will come. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
This is not just a market space. But it is a place where people connect to the farmer. They know where their food comes from, because in this day and age, that is what is critical.
This is a place where everyone's allowed to come in and buy and interact with people.
I found this a very interesting space. Every experience, every time we come here, is a very enriching experience.
Twice a month, the Bhumi campus in Bengaluru buzzes with activity. Farmers and buyers meet on the first and the third Saturday each month at this one-of-a-kind Sante or market. Up for sale are your regular vegetables as well as exotic fruits, and they all have one thing in common. Bhumi Sante is an organic farmers market. The Sante was started by K.N. Anantasivan Foundation or KNA Foundation, which also runs Bhumi College. In 2017, the group decided to launch the organic market, making them the front runners in the trend that would quickly catch on in the rest of the city. Farmers from across Bengaluru and other parts of Karnataka bring various organic produce to this market on the first and third Saturday every month. But Deepti, head of the Bhumi network, remembers the difficult task of bringing in farmers and consumers to the market during the initial phase.
So initially, yes, it was difficult, and at that time, organic was not such a big buzzword as it is today. So to even find people who were growing food organically, who were, doing organic products for cleaning, etc., was a challenge. So there were a handful of people already there in Bangalore doing certain things, and people from Bhumi, we have reached out to them and asked them to see if they could come here. So it started off with, say, about 8 to 10 stalls, and over the years, it has been slightly easier for us to get people with the same wavelength to come here and sell their products directly to the customers.
But unlike other markets, Bhumi Sante offers a unique experience where consumers can directly connect with producers. It helps the farmers to directly sell their produce to the consumers without sharing the profit with middlemen.
We practice biodiverse, regenerative, natural farming. We grow around 100 different varieties of crops, and we try to sell our produce in a sustainable way to end customers, trying to reduce the carbon footprint involved in the process and the waste generation involved in the process. That's where we came across Bhumi Sante. Also, it enables the customers to buy directly from the farmers with very minimum waste generation, without much of packaging involved, etc., at an affordable cost. And for the farmers, it provides and opens up a new market where they can get a better realization than otherwise, going through the intermediation process.
Having food which has the right nutrients, which is grown without chemicals, is very important. So that was the main intent behind having this space, the Bhumi Sante.
On market days, around 150 people visit the Sante. The Bhumi network has regulated the price at which a farmer can sell his produce. This assures a fair price for all.
The Bhumi Sante, this particular Sante, we have a cut on what is the highest a farmer can sell a vegetable or a produce at. it should be affordable for all people, and we also have our maids, we have our drivers, we have local people around here who also come and buy. So we cannot, we don't want to send them away. So this is a place where everyone's allowed to come in and buy and interact with people.
One of the primary goals of the Sante is to revive the local food economy. It also promotes eating different varieties of food which are seasonal and locally available.
Whenever you're buying, please buy directly from a farmer. Please reach out to your local markets, because there's nothing like buying things locally. Anything that comes from a far off location has a lot of carbon footprint on it. It has traveled millions of miles. It could be through air or through ship to reach you. Exotic fruits, exotic vegetables. So it's very important to eat local to get whatever you want within, say a 5-kilometer radius.
Another goal of the Sante is to connect city dwellers to rural life. To do that, the Sante also has different programs like weaving sessions, live music, outdoor games for children, and a kitchen which cooks traditional recipes with organic produce.
So many decades in India, which used to have a very, very healthy traditional food system. And if you see India, it's like multicultural, and anywhere you go, there's a different kind of food that is available. Now, more so, everything has just, leveled down into one dal chawal or a dosa, and it's something based out of rice or wheat. But traditionally, there have been so many varieties of grains, varieties of pulses, which we have been consuming, our ancestors have been consuming, and somehow that has got lost, along the way. So there are certain grains and pulses which need to be consumed at certain times in the year. They help you stay healthy no matter what the weather condition is. So you don't have to unnecessarily eat medicines, but food becomes your medicine.
Local markets like Bhumi Sante provide an opportunity to the urban population to rebuild their relationship with food they consume. It also helps to liberate rural farmers from debt trap and chemical-intensive farming. The organizers of Bhumi Sante hope not only to sustain this model but also to replicate similar markets in other parts of Bengaluru.
Yeah, that was about the Bhumi Sante that we have here, a platform where people can connect directly to the local farmers, can know where their food is coming from, can understand the nitty-gritties of eating food that comes from a far off places, of understanding what are the seasonal vegetables and fruits and the advantages of consuming them, and also tapping back into our traditional food systems. So I hope if you have any questions now, I think we can take them up.
One question from my end is, are there also talks about how food affects in different climates or different regions also?
Yes, there are talks about how food affects in different climates in different regions. So we also have these workshops that are running parallelly when the Sante is happening. And these workshops are usually conducted by the farmers who have come here to sell their produce, because I think most of the farmers that have come here not only have adopted to organic farming, but have also done a lot of study and come from an experience and understanding of what effect does these food system have on our body, on the planet, and the society as a whole. So they host these workshops for the people who come for the farmers market.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I had another question?
Sure.
Yeah. So in today's cooking that we are regularly used to, we are using a lot of ingredients that we don't understand the purpose of them. For example, hing is one thing that we use quite regularly, but not sure when or how to use those ingredients. And, you get the idea of what I'm asking about.
Right.
The combination of ingredients during cooking, are these conversations also happening at Bhumi Sante?
Yeah, definitely these conversations do happen both formally and informally. So when the farmers are selling their products, there are a lot of such questions from the consumers to the farmers. So they also bring in a lot of, samples, and they kind of give ideas to the consumers as to how this needs to be used and what is the purpose of the use. For example, we have a farmer who brings in different kinds of honey. So there are different kinds of honey for different health purposes, and the farmer gives in the sample for you to taste and explains how you can again add different things to kind of increase the benefit of consuming that honey for various health reasons. So a lot of these conversations happen as well.
Thank you. It seems like a very dynamic space, by the way that you're describing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning. That regarding the post-harvesting process for small farmers, how they are able to get that produce in such a clean way that is as shown in your film, actually.
Could you please repeat the question? I couldn't understand.
We have seen that farmers display the products now, that is just like cereals, dolls, and all the things. How the small farmers, how they can get that products processed in a nice way, that is in a displayable way, very clean and things. Because I am finding it difficult to get the workers to clean it and properly whatever I grow in my farm now, I am not able to clean it properly as seen in the shops.
Maybe I can just step in. I think the store that you saw is the zero waste organic store that is run by a sister concern of Bhumi called Namma Bhumi, run by Karma Bhumi Foundation. So the store is called Namma Bhumi Store, and that store basically we are procuring cereals and other things from not just single farmers or individual farmers. We're also sourcing these from collectives. So we are in touch with, let's say, Sahaja Collective and other collectives that we're not really engaging only with individual farmers. Some of the individual farmers that you see at the Sante are in fact urban farmers. So I think they have been able to maybe get the support required for what you're mentioning, cleaning and milling and everything. I think they are able to do that because a lot of the individual farmers that we have are sort of urban farmers with some resources available to them to get the post-harvest work done.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I can share that post-harvesting process for small farmers. What kind of equipments are having? Where we can get at Bangalore or at near Tiruvannamalai? Will be
Yes.
helpful for me.
I
You
think
can
in
share me.
Tiruvannamalai, we are planning a millet processing unit, if I'm not wrong, that has been in works for some years. And
Okay.
eventually, hopefully, it will be done. But that we have that in mind, especially for millets. As you know, that the processing is not
Atyandal is there. Atyandal process. Atyandal Institute is there.
right. So we're trying to figure out if we can have a local processing unit, millet processing unit in Tiruvannamalai. Yeah, maybe at some point we'll be able to do that. Bangalore, I'm not sure. The team would need to talk to the team to know what we are planning in Bangalore.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
I guess we need to end this session, I mean, this part of the session here. So, Adil, can we take a small short break?
I think so.
before we-
People can have some ragi kanji or some traditional energy drink and come back with a little more
Yeah, probably
enthusiasm.
just stretch and come back.
Yeah,
We've been sitting for the
anything.
last 1 hour, so.
Yes.
So we come back at, it's now 41. Can we come back at 48, 49 so that we can start the next at 50 exactly?
Sure. And maybe just a cue for the break would be, I mean, what is really wrong with globalization? Why worry about it? Like it seems like such a big word itself. Forget about what it does. So it's a huge word. So if globalization, if people can just think about it, what they think, and maybe we'll come back and take some responses.
Yeah, so we'll come back in 6 to 7 minutes.
Sure.
And you can just mute yourselves and go. No need to log out.
Is everyone back, or are most of us back at least?
Yes.
Great, great. So yeah, I think I would like to begin with a question. Why do you think the session is called "Let Us Localize" and not "Let Us Globalize"? Like, what is so wrong with globalization? Why isn't the session "Let Us Localize and Globalize"? Or let us mostly localize and sometimes globalize? Anyone can take a guess. Wild guess, shot in the dark. Why?
Can go.
Yeah.
Since I write a lot about how globalization is destructive, and localization could be a solution for most of the crises that we are facing in the world. Globalization, actually, personally, I don't agree with globalization, is because it talks about mass, mega. I mean, these are the terms that is primarily the reason we are facing a lot of social, cultural, ecological issues. So yeah, I mean, definitely globalization at a global level, people talk about how it could solve a lot of problem, but if you work on the ground, I think micro, mini is the solution, and that kind of goes along with localization theory or ideology.
Thank you, Gunjan. A lot of people who support globalization would give the retort to that by saying, but look at human evolution. Humans were somewhere in Africa 100,000 years ago. And if they were so much into localization, they shouldn't really have gone out of there and just gone into every continent in the world. And some of these travels were really, really difficult. Like, so maybe it's just humans were meant to globalize, and that's why they left the plains of savannah and went everywhere across the globe. So some supporters of globalization would say, no, it's just natural to sort of globalize. Any other perspectives as to why not have the global sort of economy that we have right now? Would it be okay if we had local farmers market across cities, across the country and across the world, but the economy stays the same? We don't change that, but we sort of have our farmers market, we go, we buy our things, we connect with the farmer, but we don't change the larger sort of, economy. Would that be okay? That way we get, yeah.
Sir, that is farmers, whatever they say now, they should sell in the local area only, the nearby area. It should be consumer, that it should be produced and sold for the local peoples, not for selling out. What I feel.
Right. Right. Thank you, Vadivelu sir. Well, any other perspectives on why not globalization? Maybe have both. We'll have the farmers market, but we'll have the supermarkets and the hypermarkets as well, and people can choose, and that's freedom, right? To choose what you want to do. What if you feel like the farmers market prices are too high, or maybe sometimes the produce isn't good enough for you, that you can't be always sure of the quality? Why not just have both? Let's have hypermarket, supermarkets, online buying, and then have some of the local farmers market as well. And would that be okay? Would that sort of work?
For me, I always look for a hybrid model or a mix of things because there are so many types of people in a society and their needs are always also so different. For those people who have the time, who have the space to come to a farmers market, for them there should be some farmers markets available. But at the same time, for those who are not able to do that for whatever reasons, the other options are useful for them. So, but when it comes to fresh produce, when we're talking about food and the vegetables that we are going to eat every day, I would rather select a local model that gives me the surety as a consumer that I'm eating fresh produce. It's not that's one of the biggest problems we are facing, right? If we want to eat a nice mango, the mango was picked, I don't know, so long ago when it was raw, and then we don't know what got it ripened in the process that it was transported. So I really don't get to enjoy that original taste of mango when I'm eating it at the end because of this whole process. So for such things, I would totally go for a farmers market, a local market to be established. But a mix is always useful. In extreme situations, we are not lost. We always have a mix that helps us tide through difficult situations, is how I'd look at it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So we've started the discussion with food and what we've been doing. But at the macro level, we're also trying to look at not just localizing our food habits, but what's really happening at the level of economy, the level of, other things. So I think, again, I would put my question, would it be okay if the global economy runs as it is and we get whatever we want from our local markets? We get our food, we get our clothes, we get whatever we want locally, but the global economy sort of runs the way it is. Would that be okay? Would anyone have a problem with that? Or it's like that's all right, like I get what I want, and maybe some farmers and some, they'll get the fair price. Would that be sort of a good enough thing? Because then we don't need to totally localize, right? We just need to like localize our food choices. We don't really have to do anything apart from that. But any opinions, any thoughts on that about global economy? Anything that you feel is good about it, not so great about it?
I think it's also to do with the control.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So local farmers market, and maybe we didn't touch on that a lot during the presentation of the farmers market, but that is implicit in it is autonomy, right? And I think Tishu talked about that, letting farmers decide what is going to be the cost of the produce. In the market, sometimes tomato prices went up to 150, sometimes they went as low down as 20, but at the farmers market, the autonomy, the control, the decision making ability is with the farmer to decide how much do they want to charge, which is based on their own context, right? What happened on their farm? Did elephants come in and destroy their crop? Maybe at that point they would want to charge a little more. Was water an issue just before the harvest? Was there rain at the wrong time? So even within the farmers market, there is this unseen thing of autonomy. Who has control, right? Is it, and in that, in a farmers market, we are saying that we are giving control to both the farmers and the consumers as well, right? Because if you go to a market, supermarket, you sort of don't get to choose. It's put there, whatever. There's an illusion of choice, but you're not really having a choice in that sense, right? In the same way, the global economy also sort of centralizes power. It centralizes decision making capacities with a select few, right? So when we speak about 100,000 years ago, man or Homo sapien had the choice, had the control, had the freedom to go wherever he wanted to go or she wanted to go. And that's what happened. So some people stayed back in Africa, some people went to Europe. From there, some people went to Siberia, some people went to Alaska, some people went to North America, and some went to South America, some came to India. So the control, the autonomy was always there. We were global, we wanted to be global, but the democratic way of decision making, the freedom to choose was there, even in the early Homo sapien. And I think the present global economy sort of takes away some of that control, from communities, and at the end takes away control from an individual, right? And so what we'll do is, maybe in the presentation that I'm going to share, look at how it looks like the globalization or the global economy is giving you freedom, is giving you choice, is giving you democracy, but that is at the surface level, right? So we'll just start my presentation, and the presentation itself will be a part quiz. Any of you know who this is, or what COP means?
No.
No one knows. Anyone has heard of COP28? Anything to do with climate change, meetings?
Climate change summit of all the countries in the world.
Right. And that it recently happened in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
And so this person is Sultan Al Jaber. He's the president of the meeting, the COP28 meeting, which is basically a meeting where representatives and people from all across the world come together and discuss how do we sort of tackle the climate change problem that is sort of affecting pretty much the entire world, right? And they've been doing this since 1995. This was the 28th meeting, and this happened in Dubai. And this is the president. Looks like a pretty distinguished man. I would probably believe a lot of things he's saying about climate change. He's the same person. This is the same person, Sultan Al Jaber. And in the background, you can sort of out of focus, you can see ADNOC. Can everybody see that? Anyone wants to take a guess as to what ADNOC is an abbreviation for, or just a guess as to what it could be?
AD is for Abu
AD is for, I'm sorry?
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yes. Abu Dhabi is correct. Yoshika, you got the first part right. NOC, if you can, it's not no objection certificate. No, it's not. It's not that.
Oil is O is for oil.
O is for oil. Awesome. Since he is on the climate change committee, is it he is Abu Dhabi No Oil Committee? Could that be it? No? No. We're almost there. Abu Dhabi NOILC.
Committee.
Yeah.
Corporation.
Company, great. We've got company also. So Abu Dhabi Oil Company. So it's Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. So Mr. Sultan Al Jaber is both the CEO of Abu Dhabi National Oil Company, one of the biggest oil companies in the world, a company that whose expansion he has overseen, but he also is heading or just headed a worldwide global consortium that meets to decide what do we do with climate change. And one of the biggest things in climate change has been fossil fuels, right? Like we need to stop fossil fuels. In fact, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is the global authority, has said that we have to keep 70% of the fossil fuels that we have on Earth under the earth. We can't take them out. And that's by the committee of scientists who have said that we can't really be using any more fossil fuel. So what happens when somebody is heading a company that works with oil, but also then is appointed the president of a group that is supposed to look at climate change? What you get is, statements like this, which says that there is no science behind the phase out of fossil fuels unless you want the world to go back into caves. This statement may be true. Maybe if we phase out fossil fuels, we'll go back to the caves. But there is a guarantee that if we keep using fossil fuels, we will not go back into caves, we will go back into graves. Because there is no way of using all the fossil fuel that we have there and not increase the atmospheric climate change, carbon dioxide that we have. And that we have already crossed many limits. Scientists had said 1 degree, 1.5 degree. Every time they're giving us grace degrees. Now they say 2 degrees, maybe, and all the carbon dioxide ppm, as it is called, we've crossed those limits as well. So this is what some of the global economy does. The global economy cannot take into account or cannot discredit the oil bloc, the lobbyists who want to sort of have so much control. So even a climate change meeting, which is supposed to be about how do we stop usage of fossil fuel, leads to a president who says that we can't stop. And there were about 2,500 people from the oil lobby group at this COP28 meeting, right? So overall, from the surface level, it looks like, yeah, it's great. People are meeting, people are coming, important people are coming from across the world, and they're coming and they're thinking about climate change. But you go one layer underneath, you'll see that the control really is with a small group, right? This is just one example, right? So I don't know how many of you heard of this yesterday. US vetoed a Gaza ceasefire. Now, keeping the politics aside, whether you support Israel, you support Palestine, or you don't know anything about Israel, Palestine, like I don't know anything about Israel-Palestine conflict. And I've made no efforts to know it also. For me, it's too complicated. But it's interesting that who has the power again. So this looks like everybody is voting. So the UNSC, the United Nations Security Council, has a voting process. And that voting process on the surface looks very democratic. It's like everybody has a vote, every country has one representative, everybody can vote. And so that's what they did. And every country out there voted for a ceasefire, right? Except 2 countries, Britain abstained and the US vetoed. So now the rules have been written such that in the UNSC that if any of the 5 permanent members, that is US, UK, France, China, and Russia, if any one of them vetoes, the entire bill which was to be passed will not be passed. So all it takes is one of the 5 countries to say we don't want this. So there is seemingly democracy where everybody has a vote, but not all votes are the same, right? And you might think, okay, maybe it makes sense in the UN Security Council, maybe because America was one of the founding countries. But then you look at it, that it's not the only global organization where US has a veto. World Bank, IMF, if you have heard of IMF, WTO, all are organizations where US has a veto, and it has used it, right? And so when we think, okay, democracy, there is democracy, and maybe everything is happening with enough freedom, we need to figure out who are the people who actually have the control, who have the actual decision-making capacities. So World Bank here says its sort of mission is to end extreme poverty and boost prosperity So now if we were to hire somebody to lead such an organization, what kind of person would you choose? And given that World Bank also claims to be a democratic organization, would you end up with, these are the 13 presidents of the World Bank since 1946, and you can have a look at them. Obviously, all of them are from the United States. So World Bank is almost always run by somebody from the United States. Not only is it run always by somebody from the United States, it's run by somebody who has either headed a bank or headed a consulting firm or worked in the Defense Department or been a consultant in some ways to the US government. So now in this sense, how do we look at World Bank or any of its action and say that it is democratic, or that it is participatory, or that it is really looking at the well-being of the entire world, right? But the projection is that when you hear of World Bank, you hear of IMF, you hear of WTO, WHO, you hear of all these organizations, you think, oh my God, these must be trustworthy because they are claiming to sort of look at the well-being of the entire world. But maybe we go one step deeper and see what is happening. But really, some of us, do we really care about who is heading IMF, WTO, or who is going to a climate change conference? Does it really matter to us? Because it's too far away, it's too abstract, right? But what about if we came to our nation? A lot of us care a little more about the nation, maybe not as many people who cared 75, 80 years ago, but at least more, right? So this is a picture from Nutrition Society of India. It held its national conference, I think recently. Anything strange that you notice about this image?
The sponsors are PepsiCo, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola.
Yes. Is that strange to have PepsiCo, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola as sponsors, gold sponsors, that too, not just normal sponsors, for a conference on Nutrition Society of India with the theme Nutri-Cereals for On Health? I'm not even sure what Nutri-Cereals are, but forget that, right? So that is a conference, national conference, which is sponsored by these companies. So how much freedom does the conference have? Is the conference authority in some ways have to make sure that there are representatives from these companies there? Do we know that? We don't know. Maybe not, but does it really create trust in the process when you see sponsors which are PepsiCo, Kellogg, and in fact, the platinum sponsor is also interesting sponsor. Anybody wants to take a guess? It's very pixelated, but you want to take a guess if you've worked with NGOs, INGOs, or have been in the social sector, you may have seen that logo. That is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Right? Maybe you can see it a little pixelated here. That's a platinum sponsor. So now maybe you can go ahead and do your own research. What is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's agenda been when it comes to agriculture over the past, or health or poverty over the past 20 years? You can figure it out. Now, what does it do to have sponsors that have their own agenda in a conference about the health of the people of its nation? Like, what does it do? We can think about it. It doesn't mean that they have sinister needs, but think about it. But some of us, honestly, let's be very honest, don't even care about what's happening at the national level, and that's really how most of us live our lives. It's like too abstract, too far away. Nation is just too far away. Okay, and maybe if PepsiCo, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola comes up with new things, we'll just boycott them because we are in the know. We know, right? Pepsi is bad, Kellogg's is bad. Anybody has heard of this company, DSM? No, we should have heard of this company, because this company is now going to give fortified rice to about 80 crore people in our country. Now it becomes a little closer. Damn, I could be one of the 80 crore people who gets fortified rice. What is fortified rice? Anyone has heard of fortified or plastic rice? No? All right. So fortified rice is something in which this company, DSM, comes up with a premix similar to, let's say, what Cerelac or Nestle, another horrible company, comes up with a premix which says that this premix has some of the micronutrients that rice nowadays doesn't have, and which is causing malnutrition in people. And what we are going to do is we are going to have this premix added to the rice, and then we are going to give it to people, right? And so the entire process of the companies holding a conference in Mexico saying that this micronutrient is needed, and to the government okaying the giving of fortified rice in PDS, which is the public distribution system, took just 2 years. So from 2019 to the announcement 2021. So in 2 years, we decided that micronutrients are not there in our rice. We decided that we will have fortified rice, and we decided also who is going to make this fortified rice. Want to take a guess who wants to make it? Yeah, obviously DSM is one of the companies which holds the conference in Mexico and then gets the project to make this fortified rice as well. So now, is there some conflict of interest here? Seems like it, right? Like a company wants something done, it just holds a couple of conferences, gets people from FSSAI, if you've heard of that organization, which is the regulatory food regulatory authority of India. And then within a couple of years, we have this. Even when the civil society, people working with sustainable agriculture, researchers, scientists have been saying that there is no proof. There is no proof that fortification works. There is no proof that any of this works. Can we sort of take it slow? No, but that didn't happen, right? So now soon we are going to have 80 crore people who are going to get what is referred to as plastic rice, because this rice is not grown. This rice is manufactured. It's manufactured in a factory, right? And this is not real food, right? But this is going to happen. And who is going to benefit? The people who are going to eat it may or may not, because there's no proven case of whether this fortification helps, but we know who is going to benefit to the tune of 3,000 crores. That's BSF, Lonza, and especially DSM, which has already set up a fortifying manufacturing plant in Hyderabad, right? So this is what is going to happen. So now we can come even a little closer. You can still think, forget about 80 crore people. I can still be part of the other 60 crore. I am not really dependent on PDS scheme, and I'm not going to buy that. It's all right. I'm like, come back again to I, because a lot of the present the way we make decisions is based on I. Like, what do I get? Where do I get food from? How do I do something? So happiness, this is something all of us want. Like at some level or the other, if we are not saints and gurus and sadhus, we want happiness in some form or the other. And clearly, everywhere we've been told that happiness is available. It's just Pharrell singing because I'm happy. Coca-Cola is saying just open happiness. Open a bottle of Coca-Cola, you'll get happiness. Buy a house, you'll get happiness. Order something from Amazon, Khushiyan. So it's very clear that the global economy is giving us many ways in which we can get happiness. Right? Clearly, there's just so many ways. You can buy a fan and some switches also, and you can be happy. So which means that this should be our state. Like this is how we should be. Oh my God, I'm so happy because like I can just buy some chewing gum and I can be happy. Right? This is how like you expect, because the global economy is telling you like, hey, everything is fine, like you're happy. But this is what research tells us. Historically unhappy times, living in historically unhappy times. Why is everyone unhappy at work? Global rise of happiness. Why are young people miserable? We look at America and think, yeah, American dream, maybe we go there, we'll be happy. And then you're like, oh, 14% of US adults are happy. Like, how can this be? Like, the global economy is telling us, eat chewing gum and you'll be happy, have Cadbury's, you'll be happy, but we're not happy. Clearly, whatever outs the global economy is trying to give us is not working. And these are not, the sources are not here, some, woohoo, hippie, alternative websites. This, why are young people so miserable, is from Harvard. The global rise of unhappiness is from Gallup. Something else is from Washington Post. Something else. So these are all credible mainstream organizations that really should be saying, oh, people are happy. But they're not saying that. Something is clearly going wrong, right? And what are we told? What is the narrative that most of us are told, at least in cities? Look, yes, you want to be one of those 14% in the US who are happy. Just make more money and you will be happy. So first they did some research. They said, if you make until $75,000 in the US, obviously this research is done in US, in cities with white people. So they said, make $75,000 a year, and then that is where happiness plateaus. After that, it won't sort of increase. Then they were not happy with that research on happiness. So they did another research on happiness, which could make them happy, and which was like, okay, actually being richer or having more money makes you more happy, but it doesn't make people who are unhappy happy. This is what came out of this research. This is done by Nobel-winning economists, right? So clearly, this is the sort of the line that we are told, that, make some money, you'll not be really happy, but you'll be happy a little bit, right? This is what we're told. But the same, this is where the conflict of interest and the mixed signals come. So the same social psychologists from Harvard are telling us, we don't even know how happy we are. Like, we don't even know how to sort of judge anything in our past, whether we were happy about it or how happy about it. We don't even know how to predict our future. And this is amazing research done by Dan Gilbert. You can check out his TEDx videos, where he looks at, we are poor at long-term thinking about our own selves. We think today that this will make us happy in 10 years. And they have done research asking those people after 10 years. They were like, no, that really didn't work. Asked about music choices, asked about food, asked about what they want to be. Everything changed in 10 years that we had no clue. And that is got to do something with the human mind not being built for long-term thinking, future thinking, long-term. That's why we have such issues with grasping climate change, agriculture, what is happening at a macro level, because human mind is not sort of built for that. Human mind is built for present and near future. And that's where the global economy is easily able to offer you solutions. Just buy this. Just buy this now, you'll get something. Go on an experience, you'll feel happy, right? But we actually we're not even sure of what makes us happy, right? Especially when we look for it outwardly, when we look for it in terms of things, when we look for it in terms of experiences, we're not sure. And that research is also has been done by Dan Gilbert. So I would strongly recommend watching his videos, or if you want to read his book, you can do that. And I think all of this comes to the most important thing. So this is something I came across. So man asked Buddha, like, I want happiness. So Buddha said, first remove I, that's ego. Then remove want, that's desire. See, now you're left with happiness. But the most, and this could have been said by a Sufi saint, this could have been said by a guru, it could have been said by a Zen philosopher, it's all the same. What's important is this global economy runs on that phrase, I want. You can add happiness in the end, but it runs on I want this, I want that, I want peace, I want, right? And so really, localization is not just about trying to buy fruits that will make your health better. It's not about I, and it's not about want. It's about, can we think in terms of we are? Because the research on happiness also shows that you can manufacture happiness, synthesize happiness within your own brain. You don't even need anything outside. You don't have to want anything. You don't have to desire anything. So localization really, we are trying to shift from I want to we are. We are a community. How are we going to figure out what we need? Instead of saying, I want access to whatever. So maybe some of this will go deeper into the localization module that we plan to do. And if some of you are interested, you can attend that. But yeah, this is what we wanted to look at the deeper need for localization. It's not just to have access to things that we want, but it is to change the lens and change the perception to we are, and what does that community look like. All right, I'm going to share. That has been quite a long presentation. But yeah, perspectives, questions, things you didn't like, please feel free to share.
I guess at individual level, we all do think about all these topics, if not at a very detailed level, but definitely at some level, we all do think through this. But I think the bigger problem is also, as kids, we remember a kind of a community feeling that also doesn't exist anymore as of now, because we are all also moving around a lot. So my worry is more about as of today, what are those things that really can bring people together, can create this community feeling in everybody. The very thing that you mentioned, how can we move from I to we, is also something that keeps running in the background of my head a lot.
Absolutely. So, and if we are able to link the global economy to the way that we are now, that the way we are sort of separate, we are sort of disconnected, I think then it's easier to find places. So like a Bhumi Sante, in fact, the tagline, the initial tagline for Bhumi Sante was creating a community of well-being. So it's really not a place to buy things. That is at a surface level. Of course, you buy things, you eat things, you meet people. But really, the underlying deeper intent is to create that community of well-being. What does it look like when the same kind of people come to the same place on similar days, buy things, are at this, sort of in the same context? What does that do? So this is something which a lot of writers have written about, that this is that, well-being, that this is how you create well-being, sort of by sort of doing something with the larger community where the land or the space is also the context. So I think some of us can look, who are looking at cities, stay in cities, what does it do mean to do meetups, or sort of meetup, do small meetups where you do a small cleanup. I think there are I think in Ugly Indian, there are so many other groups that do, cleanups. There are places where you can go and volunteer. So there are ways in which we can do it. But as long as we sort of make that connection, that the globalization is what has led to us being separate, and that we cannot find a mimic of that connection within globalization. We can't really find that. Like, you can watch only so many OTT shows, you can only do so many, buy so many things, that the things that the global economy is giving us as products is never going to get us to that happiness. And that happiness is really going to come by connecting to people, connecting to land, connecting to communities that work with land. And how do we get about doing it? Yeah, that's why in the, I think, the presentation that I shared, purposefully I have put the arrow is not straight, it's zigzag. It's zigzag because it's a complicated process in which there are going to be ups and downs, where you'll feel at many points that I've hit a roadblock, or that I'm not able to really, do what I want to do. I feel the need to do something, but I am not finding avenues. And that's the reason for the zigzaggy arrow, because it's not straightforward. Because we have sort of disconnected ourselves so much that it is going to take a lot of effort to do that. But I think a good, like you being here, all of you being here is in one way is making that effort. And then from here, we can sort of find many other ways as well.
Great presentation. Coming to Bhumi is always an eye-opener for me. More than my heart opens, my heart had opened. So before a year or so, I like globalization is good, globalization is good. I used to praise our ex-finance minister who has come with globalization. And I used to praise a lot. But now, after going back to deeper, that this should not have happened. Our future generation will be affecting a lot by this. And somehow I feel the crunch that I'm 40 now. So since these 40 years, I just what I did. So sometimes I feel that very limited time is there, and we are talking amongst each other. We are communicating amongst each other. That when I try to reach general public, like per se, my close relative also, they don't want to listen all these things. This is the sad reality. What I feel, they don't want to listen to me. So, what should in that perspective? What should we do?
I don't know from Bhumi's point of view. I can provide my personal individual perspective on this, that you sort of stop talking to people who don't want to listen to you, and you try to find people who listen to you. And
that I already did.
Yeah, and I think that's good enough in some ways, because there are different people are on different journeys, and not everybody has to accept that localization is good. Maybe some people can feel that localization is, not the answer, globalization is. But as long as we are able to see that, globalization appears to give you what we want. Like, when we live in apartments, we are living close to each other. So it gives you an appearance that we are a community. But really, if you took a survey of how many people know their neighbors, that would be like many people can't even name. Many people can't even recognize facially who their neighbors are. Like, that may not be you and I, but take a general survey and you will. So in a globalized economy, things appear as if there is community. It appears as if we are happy. It appears as if we have a connection, because that's what social media is doing, right? Connected. But it's a mimic of the real connection. The real connection really is coming from people being together, people working at least with some parts on the land, working with their hands, heart, head. So that is, if we are able to see that distinction, we've sort of done some of the work. And convincing people and letting other people know, that takes some time and some effort. But if for ourselves, if we are able to do that, I guess we've sort of started the journey.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to come in to check on time. We are already 5 minutes past the time. How is everyone? We have one small thing left. So How is everyone? If anyone is like has something that you need to attend to, probably you can log out. Otherwise, we would be happy if you can continue.
Can continue that. We can continue.
Yeah.
We can continue.
Thanks. Okay, thank you. So Adil, you want to close this before we go to the next?
No, that is closed with I want and we are, it's closed in that sense. Like I said, we might go deeper into what's happening at a global level in the actual module, some of the insanity that happens in the global economy. But yeah, that's done for today.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that that would have given us a lot to reflect on. And from there, probably we will bring some changes in our action choices. So, okay, I think that was a very thought-provoking presentation, but we'll move to something very nitty-gritty. So as we shared that these webinars that we are doing over the weekends are kind of precursors to the modules that we are planning to run, the online modules that we are planning to offer after this. So we'll give you a slight, some bit of information regarding the modules that are going to come up after this. So I'll share my screen. I hope everyone can see the screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
So we thought like there were like lot of requests and lot of inquiries about online programs from Bhumi. So we thought we'll put some modules together and offer it. So this is the information about that. So there is a series that we have planned, and the series will include these 3 modules. Self, land and community. Yesterday's webinar was based on that. And ecological urban living, like today's webinar is focusing on this part. And then education for sustainability. So these 3 modules we are planning in the series. So today, since we are talking about this ecological urban living, which includes localization, so we will be offering this. So there are these topics that will be presented in this, and the dates. All these modules will be done over the weekend, Saturday. All the dates are Saturdays and Sundays. So localization for people, place and planet, looking at that. Why we need to, like today Adil gave the presentation where we got a bit of the flavor of why we should move towards localization and move away from globalization. So looking at that. Then another important thing is looking at insanity of global trade, the global trade that is happening, and what are some of its effects, impacts on everything from environment to climate to health to everything. And how insane some of the, like if you will be sharing some information and data, and you will then realize that how insane some of those activities are. Then regenerative cities, how we can build regenerative cities. Co-owning our commons, like be it water, lakes, parks, green areas. How can we co-own and see to it that they are maintained and they are kept? Like if I mean, many of you may not be aware of the context, like Sarjapur Road, where we are, the Bhumi campus is, the entire place is just buildings and apartments and malls and all office buildings. Everything is just concrete jungle. Nobody has thought, no civic authority, no builder, nobody has thought of creating some green space on that entire stretch of Sarjapur Road. So how can we like take care of some of those things? And being waste-wise, looking at how we can manage our waste. So all these sessions are 16th, 17th March is Saturday, Sunday, again 23rd, 24th. And sorry, I think, yeah, one more session is there. So this module will have 6 sessions. Experiences of localization. So we'll be presenting some of the case studies of where people have done work towards localization and there are success stories and they have been able to achieve their goals. So that is on 31st March. So that is also a weekend. All these modules will be, I think, about 2.5 to 3 hours long. Oh, one sec, I think it again got stuck. Yeah. So what we felt that, yeah, online session offers us the convenience and we can do it, especially for people who are not in Bangalore to join these sessions. But I feel personally and at Bhumi also, we feel that there is nothing that can replace the personal connect. So yeah, we can do online session, but we will be ending these with a boot camp. Each module will have a boot camp at the end of it. So ecological urban living, we'll be holding the boot camp at Bhumi College campus in Bangalore. And the dates are 29 to 23rd April. So for that, that will be a residential program. You will have to come to Bhumi campus. So your stay and food, everything will be organized here. And you will have to arrive on 19th, which is again from Monday to Friday. It's a 5-day camp. So this will be these webinar that we are offering is free, but these modules will be the paid one. So for the 6 online sessions, the charges will be 4,500 and the boot camp will be 7,000. If someone for some reason not able to join for the boot camp, then the charges will be 6,000 for the online sessions. So these are the dates at a glance. So you can see 16th March will be first online session, 16th and 17th. Then next weekend, 23rd, 24th. Then third weekend will be 30th, 31st March. And the boot camp will be 19th to 23rd April. Yeah, so I'll stop sharing. And if you have any question, we can quickly answer. We have really gone ahead of time. Anything regarding the modules?
What can we expect of the boot camps?
Sorry?
What can we expect of the boot camps?
So boot camp also will have, say like online, the Bhumi believes in more experiential kind of learning. And so online will not give that opportunity. So when you come for the boot camp, you'll have a lot of hands-on work, a lot of experiential learning, interactions, some visits, some observations. So all those will be possible in the boot camp. Yeah, anything else? So how many of you like feel that, yeah, this would be you would like to join for this module? Just a show of interest. It may or may not happen, but as of now, how many feel? Yeah, thanks. Nice to hear that from you, Rajni, after having done the fellowship program.
Yeah, these sessions are always thought-provoking. They go deeper and deeper. So, yeah, never want to stop learning them.
Thanks. So, okay, I guess, Adil, shall we close the session?
Yes, thank you everyone for joining in. We have our next session on 16th. It's ecological urban living. So yeah, we'll look at some interesting things in that session as well. If you have not registered for that webinar, please just write to us and we'll add you to the session. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.